All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 3 underway right here on Jocks. 800-239-9569 if you'd like to get in. 800-239-WJOX. Listen online, jocksfm.com. Grab the app in your app store. Tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jock skill. You can always listen to the show that way. You got something?
Crocker Moves are a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring moves you can trust, complete full background checks, and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether you need your whole home packed up, move your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, they got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovieservice.com. It's crockermovieservice.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Movie Service for your next move.
All right, let's continue some of the conversation from over the weekend and just kind of what we saw and where things maybe are headed. We were talking a little South Carolina and LSU. I agree with you. South Carolina, Oklahoma has a chance to be intriguing.
Very.
Do you have more or less confidence in total points scored in this game than you did in Texas, Oklahoma?
Less points in this one.
That one was way under and still scored more than I thought they would. I haven't looked at the total for this game, but I would take the under. And I don't even need to know what it is. I mean, this could be a Wisconsin-Iowa under.
27.
Which, by the way, Wisconsin-Iowa hit the under.
27.
That's the total?
No, I don't know. If I put it there.
43.5, which is low, but I'll take it. You going under there?
Some of these points, some of these unders are too obvious. At some point, these offenses are going to get going.
Well, one that I wouldn't take would be Ohio State-Wisconsin at 40.5. I think Ohio State could possibly score that.
I do think Wisconsin will have a little something if Ohio State tries to run the ball.
A&M Arkansas 61.5?
It's Arkansas.
Okay.
Auto play over.
Ole Miss Georgia 54.5.
I'd probably lean over.
Battle of the Bones 63.5. Memphis is a 20.5 point favorite in that game.
Over.
Oregon Rutgers 60.5. You can't take the over in that game.
No, I'd take the under in that one. But I do think Rutgers' quarterback is pretty good.
The only under that didn't hit for us that we talked about on the show was Friday night.
Which one was that?
I think South Florida went over by themselves.
Oh, did they?
I mean, they put 63 on them.
And then, South Florida was like, nah, never mind.
Total was what, like 67.5?
Yeah.
Didn't see South Florida putting 63 on an undefeated North Texas on the road. But they did.
South Flow.
Got him. Golden Domer wants to chime in on weekend games. Welcome into the show, Domer.
Top of the morning, Joe.
Domer, I'm watching the Irish as we speak.
Okay, doing some film study?
I mean, I just have it on in the background.
Oh, got you. Well, this weekend's game is going to be massive, guys. It's probably one of the biggest ones in the recent history of the Notre Dame USC rivalry. I think I wasn't really calling to talk about that game just yet.
One of the last ones, Domer. This game's going away. Don't forget that.
That is true. Something tells me that we'll figure it out, but you may be right. We may be right. But
no,
I was really impressed with USC's physicality against Michigan, because even when Michigan's not great, they're very physical, and USC kind of big boyed them over 200 rushing yards. But that was impressive. It's going to be a very challenging game, especially with our center out now. So it's going to be a challenge. But I wanted to get y'all's take on something. I know it was a big topic yesterday about the Auburn Georgia game. I agreed with some of the things you said, and I disagreed with some of the things you said. First thing I want to kind of dig into the layers of the play on the fumble. Okay, you correct me if I'm wrong on this. So they called the play a fumble, and I
Correct.
understand that. However, we all agree that we can see the point of the football across the line, and I believe we're going about it the wrong way of determining if it was a fumble or not, because in the video, we can see the ball in his hand, okay? So the last frame, we know it's in his hand. Then we see the ball cross the plane. Why? We should be proven, have to be proven that it was a fumble, not an assumption that it's not in his hand. So it's an extra layer. Why are we making the assumption that the ball was not in his hand? We can clearly see the ball over the line. I feel like that even though the call was a fumble, you should go into that situation with the assumption that the ball is in his hand, and I need to be shown when it's not in his hand.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. The ball did get punched. Like, that's the one thing. Here's what I think's hilarious about this is that regardless of what side you're on, whether you're a Georgia fan or an Auburn fan, everyone that I've talked to, and I've talked to people on both sides, both have said, quote, clearly the ball was out. Quote, clearly the ball crossed the plane. There was nothing clear about it in either direction.
Well, I think it was definitely clear that the ball crossed the plane. That's what
I see. Now you asked me, Domer. I thought the nose of the football crossed the plane. I said it on the broadcast. I said, to me, it looks like the nose of the football crossed the plane.
I think they're debating that it was moving.
That it was moving before it got there. By the way, if that's what they see, that's what they see. And if it's called a fumble on the field, you don't feel like you have indisputable video evidence beyond all doubt to overturn, then it is what it is.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. All right, and this is kind of a layer. Okay, just think about it. The last time on the video, we see the ball in his hand. So it's established the ball is in his hand. Okay, then it's established that the ball crosses the plane. I feel like the assumption should be made that he has the ball until the video proves that he doesn't have the ball. It's almost like if you're catching the ball, all right, and he's got the ball, and they're trying to say, did his knee touch? We assume that the ball's in his hand, and then we level it up to the knee touching. So even though it was called a fumble on the field, why are we not just saying, okay, we see the ball in his hand, now we see the ball crossing the plane. I need to be proven that the ball came out. No,
Hold on a second. What you were just saying about we assume because the ball's in his hand and then it's in his hand. I don't think officials do that.
There is no assumption.
They have to have the clear video evidence. They can't just say, well, it's there, so it's got to be there. They don't do that. They can't do that.
Yeah, I think they might should though, Cole. I mean, that's all.
Well, no, that's why it's indisputable video evidence. They're not going to assume. They have to have video proof from all the angles that it was actually either possessed or stepped out or knee down, whatever it was.
Yeah, I get it. I was just kind of wanting to. I wasn't really saying that that's what I feel. I just wanted y'all to think about it. That the last time we saw the ball was in his hand, and I felt like the video should have proved that it wasn't in his hand because we can see the ball across the plane. I don't think that's debatable. But
the only thing that is not debatable about that play is that it was, quote, clear, regardless of what side you're on. There was nothing clear about it.
Yeah, I agree.
It was a bang play. Some people thought it's no different than catch, no catch. It's no different than any of these other, the tuck rule, like any of these other very, very close gray area plays. Like there's going to be 50% of the audience that believes one thing. There's going to be 50% of the audience that believes the other thing. I am in the belief that I thought the nose of the ball crossed the plane. Doesn't mean I'm right. It just means that that's what I thought. And those that think, I am of the belief the ball was out beforehand, doesn't mean they're right. But that's what they thought. Like, that's one of those plays. It's just very, very close. And unfortunately for Auburn, because it was called a fumble on the field, I don't think they had enough to overturn it. Had they called it a touchdown on the field, I think it would have been upheld. I think either way it would have been upheld. They just didn't have enough to warrant overturning the call. That's the trick.
I think you're making a good point. I honestly think if you're not a Georgia fan, 90% of people think that's a touchdown. But I do see what you're saying. It was not conclusive. I do agree with that. All right. The one thing I would say I disagree with y'all about yesterday, and y'all made this point a couple of times, is I think it's kind of coach talk. And sometimes, y'all were athletes your whole life, so you got coach talk your whole life, so it's kind of bred into you. But there is no doubt that one or two plays can change the game. I mean, if Auburn.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on.
Okay.
You use different verbiage than I use. And I'm not even going to put this on Greg because this is something that I say and that people hate. I say decide a game. You said change a game. I think a lot of plays can change a game. 100%.
Yeah.
There's no single play.
Let me reword it.
That
one play can decide a game. It can. And that's coach talk. That's what coaches tell their players. Hey guys, no plays. It's not true.
Okay,
most games that are close.
But I think you even know what I'm saying. Okay, like I see what you're saying in that can be the play that gives us the lead that then ends up we won the game because of that play because it put us ahead. Okay, I get that. Like that's a different context of what I'm saying is that there's no one play that determines the outcome entirely of a game. So what other word do I need? Like I need a different word.
Not entirely, but I think you could go back and say, if we could just go back in time and say Auburn scores that touchdown, I believe there's probably a 90% probability they win that game. Because now they're up.
Yeah, if you wanted to use the analytics, of course. But I'll say this. If Auburn would have kept running their offense the same way, Georgia was going to have a lot of chances to score because they weren't moving the ball because they didn't change anything, and Georgia did change some things.
Yeah, I think momentum is real, and I think that play right there is one of the most I've ever seen where it completely changed the game. It changed the momentum. You had
momentum is absolutely real, but there's also a handful of other plays that no one's talking about. The blindside block on Cash Jones.
I saw a ball hit a Georgia defender in the numbers, and he didn't intercept it.
2.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. No one's talking about the blindside block or Cash Jones. Colby Young has first and goal at the 1. If they hadn't called that blindside block on Georgia. And by the way, I don't think it was a blindside block. It was behind the play, and he was blocking him towards the ball carrier. Like, I don't think it was a blindside block. No one's talking about that.
What I'm trying to say is and I agree with what you're saying, but I take it like this when I'm coaching or when I'm watching or anything. I actually think it's the opposite. I think every game is decided by 2 or 3 plays. I really do. I think most of the other plays are here and there. This happened, that happened. I believe most close games are actually decided by 1 or 2 what I would call swing probability plays.
Okay, and that's fine, but here's where I think that's incorrect.
Okay.
In order to get to those plays, all of the other plays have to happen. Like, what if one of the plays you're talking about is a play action and the corner comes up to play the run and falls down? You're telling me that all the other run plays weren't just as important as that play? Of course they were.
They all work together.
What if it's a strip sack fumble by a defensive end who makes an inside move, and he gets that ball out, picks up, runs, scores, 2 seconds on the clock, they go ahead and they win the game? You don't think all of his outside rush moves, that just dip and rips and those speed to power moves he put on that tackle all year had something to do with that? I would bet that it does.
Oh, of course it does.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I bet you could go back, and I bet you could get some coaches. Let's just pretend we got some coaches. We go back and do some film study. I bet you most games you could go back and you could say, hey, you know what? This play right here, guys. Anthony, you made this tackle. This play, this changed the trajectory of the game. This single play. And I know what you're saying. There has to be plays that lead up to that. I'm not saying the other plays are not valuable. But in my personal opinion, if I'm a coach, I'm telling my players, hey, guys, this game is going to come down to 1 or 2 key plays.
Oh, coaches say that all the time. They say it all the time. Yeah, well, I think they're just trying to get you prepared for when that big moment arises,
and for to take every play as if it has a life of its own. That's why they say that, because they don't want you on a 2nd and 3 in the second quarter that ultimately might be the most important play of the game. They don't want you to treat it as though if it's just some random throwaway 2nd and 3 in second quarter. Like, if you're going to do a power ranking of plays importance, yes, you can absolutely do that throughout each and every game. And by the way, ignoring, I just referenced the legal blindside block on Cash Jones. Like, that would have been first and goal at the 3. What about when Keldrick Falk was offsides and on 4th and 1 and they didn't call it? They throw a jump ball to Colby Young because they think it's a free play. They don't get the flag. Now you have a 1st and 10 in plus territory with their offense on the move. Like, there's 1,000 plays, by the way, that went into determining the outcome on Saturday. Or there's not 1,000, but 170 plays that went into determine the outcome of the game, including kickoff touchbacks, including punt returns, including shanked punts, including drop passes, including poor sets by the right tackle, including all these things. I think
what you're saying, right? I think what we're both saying, right? But I think that, like I said, you can't point to some games and one play can change it. But can we all just agree on one thing, guys? Can we just all agree on this? Kirby Smart is Bush League, man. This guy is so petty. I am so glad Notre Dame sent them home last year. The way he acts, that little fake timeout thing he did, and then he's there trying to say, I didn't call timeout. Kirby Smart, he may be successful, but he is Bush League. And I just don't like Kirby Smart. I just don't like him. I think that his antics, that whole calling a timeout every overtime.
Well, hang on 1 second. First of all, calling timeout at the end of every Georgia Tech thing last year. Appreciate the call, Domer. The timeout, that was within the rules. The rules have since adjusted. That's not Bush League. That's smart. It's tactical. Here's the other thing. He should have been charged a timeout. But what he was talking about with the clapping situation, he was not saying that I was just clapping. And this is what's been told to me after the fact. I don't know this to be true for 100% certain, but this is what's been said. He was trying to say that the Auburn safeties were clapping
He was. It's on film.
And
You can see it.
that is what he was talking about with the clap. Not that he was clapping. He still should have been charged timeout. He still called timeout. So the fact that he didn't get charged one is insane. But either way, that was what he was referencing. That's what they're saying. So it should have been, he was doing the clapping was not that he was clapping, that the Auburn player was clapping, and they should have been assessed a defensive delay of game for discerning signals. So that's the explanation for that. So I don't think you need to take a shot at his character for that.
I'll give you a perfect example here. So I'm 2 plays before the quarterback sneak. Raylan Wilson with an excellent strike and shed comes off a block to stop the running back at the 2-yard line. Okay, and then you get a quarterback keep so you give Raylan Wilson the importance of that play. Like that doesn't count. It's not a big play. And then 44 comes flat down the line of scrimmage, along with it looks like Zero, who sheds a block, forces Arnold to cut back, and then 44 is coming flat down the line of scrimmage. Actually, just kind of accidentally trips him up. He's not able to get in the end zone. He gets in the end zone there. We're not having this conversation. So those aren't big plays. Those aren't meaningful plays. So
No.
it can't just be that one play. Like all of those things matter. All of those things happen. All of those things were parts of the game. And so maybe I need a new phrase, a new term as far as decide a game, one play. Because I do understand that you can kick a field goal at the end of the game and go up. And yes, decisively, that was the difference in the score of the game. But no one play determines the overall outcome of a game. Is that the correct way to maybe phrase it?
Yes.
Most likely, yeah.
Because people are still going to say, well, no, he threw the touchdown pass and they went up by a point, so that's why they won. So that was the play that decided the overall outcome of the game. Those are the people I need to defend myself against
Correct,
right now.
right,
And
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
The
You don't need to
phrasing
defend
do
yourself.
it.
What you say is 100% true. Anyone that has ever watched a game or knows that each and every play has a certain weighted value on the overall outcome. Now, some are infinitesimally small, small. Some are of greater significance and weight.
I did not get tangents in the game, by the way.
Not every play is equal, but every play plays a role. So that I think is what you're saying. They all matter. And that's why it stinks that Auburn, on the ones that have mattered most, they haven't been able to make those plays over the last 2 seasons. That's probably what's frustrating.
Yeah. All right. We've got a lot of you on hold. We'll get to your calls when we come back next, right here on Jocks. Is it tangent or tangential?
Tangential.
Tangential.
I even had it written on my chart. I was going to try to get it in. I just couldn't. And I'll say this. I was in my room doing prep before the game, and I looked it up again, and it still has like 3 definitions.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't even know where I go with this.
Ironically, none of them are tangential to each other.
None.
But is that even the correct usage? Because I'm confused.
If there are multiple definitions, then yes. I use it right.
This week, I'm just going to say it.
Just out of nowhere.
Just like 3rd and 10, tangential. And then Tom can just call the rest of the play. And then I got it in, so we'll be done. Andy Staples joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. Do you know what tangential means?
Yeah, it means it barely relates to something like a tangent in geometry is a line that kind of goes off a shape on the outside of it, barely touching it. So like a tangential topic would be something that kind of barely touches the main topic that you're talking about.
Is he right? I don't even know.
That is one of them, yes.
Okay.
Well, one and a half of them because it is geometric, yes.
All right. Good job. Wow. Andy Staples bringing the intelligence here this morning.
My son's in geometry right now. That's maybe the only reason I remember that.
Wow. Okay. What are your thoughts on the James Franklin departure and the timing of it?
They did what they had to do because I think that relationship on both ends had kind of run its course, and there wasn't any coming back from what happened because, the biggest complaint for how many years now, 5 years, 6 years, has been James Franklin wins the games he's supposed to, but he never wins the games against the best teams. Well, he's still not winning the games against the best teams. In the last 2 weeks, he's lost 2 games as a 20-point favorite. If you no longer have he wins the games he's supposed to, which is kind of the bedrock of, well, this is why we keep paying him all this money, what do you have? Now, this is a program that they are dedicating the resources to compete for national championships, which you couldn't always say for Penn State. I think everybody gets confused and thinks Penn State spent like Ohio State and acted like Ohio State all these years. They didn't. But they kind of have been since 2022 when they got their AD Pat Kraft, when the president who's in office now came in. They have been that. So they expect the same kind of results that Ohio State gets, that Oregon gets, that Michigan's been getting, or not getting lately, but in the national title season. They expect that. They expect you to compete for national titles, and it didn't feel like that's ever going to happen at that point. So you probably have to pull the ripcord. Now, I will point out that unlike a lot of the contracts in the SEC, James Franklin's contract has what's called a duty to mitigate, which means he's supposed to go try to find another job. If he gets one, the amount he gets paid gets lopped out of the buyout. So I think there's a pretty strong market for James Franklin, especially considering how many jobs are going to be open. I think there's a really good chance he gets a $4 or $5 million a year head coaching job. And so that $8 million a year buyout becomes a $3 or $4 million a year buyout.
It's kind of crazy when you look at how quickly it went south, and I understand why they did what they did. I get it. I actually support it. But I am curious to see what it means moving forward. What does it mean for the other programs that might be in the market for a new head coach too? Is this going to maybe push them a little faster towards making a decision?
I don't know, Greg. I'm not sure it pushes them that much faster. Like the Florida thing, we'll see what happens. Nobody's told me anything specifically, but I've been pointing out to a lot of people over the past week because I think people have forgotten. And I'll ask you two this. Do you remember what the last game Jimbo Fisher coached at Texas A&M was?
Didn't he win?
51-10 win against Mississippi State.
That's right.
So a lot of times you make the move when it's most logistically convenient. Coach O got told he was being fired the night before they played Florida.
Yeah.
Or maybe the day of. And they went out and beat Florida. And then they fired him. So, I mean,
they let him coach the A&M game, right? After that.
Hey, he stayed on the rest of the way.
Yeah, so I'm saying he was fired and then kept coaching.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think a lot of this is more logistical than anything else, because I would imagine the decision's probably been made at Florida. I don't see there's really any going back at this point. But Wisconsin, that's another one where I kind of wonder, does this change their thinking? I think they probably already made the decision, but maybe this just reinforces it. But I don't know that it makes you go any faster. But I do think the Penn State job is the best job that's open. And given what we know, what we think is going to come open, I think it will be the best job of the cycle.
How many other big jobs are you anticipating opening? Because there's some folks that are forecasting mass chaos as it pertains to highly desired college football jobs this coaching cycle.
Truly mass chaos comes, Cole, if somebody goes to the NFL, like an ultra successful head coach goes to the NFL, or you get a Brian Kelly or Lincoln Riley situation with a job like Penn State or Florida. Like that's where true chaos comes in, where if somebody who is a sitting head coach somewhere who's been ultra successful leaves to go to another school or go to the NFL, then the domino effect gets pretty crazy. I think it's going to be pretty crazy anyway. We counted on my show the other day, I think 14 power conference jobs that could open. I think that number is probably a little higher now. And at that point, this was like 3 weeks ago, I wasn't really including Wisconsin in it. And now, obviously, I think Wisconsin is going to happen. So, if we go with the obvious ones, Wisconsin, Florida, Cole, I think your alma mater, if things continue to go the way they're going, that one might open. So those are pretty big jobs right there.
Is Michigan going to open?
I don't know. The fan base is more out than you'd realize on Sharon Moore. That's one of those. A couple weeks ago, I was going through the message boards and reading the Michigan one. I'm like, wow, these guys are down on Sharon Moore. So it's one to watch. I'm just going to put it as one to watch for now because I don't think they're quite there yet. But yeah, if things look bad the rest of the way, it could be on the table too. I mean, shoot, LSU could be on the table if they lose a few more games. And that's the thing. Like the other piece of this is I thought there were certain buyouts that were untouchable. James Franklin was one of those, but I should have known. So last week on my show, we had Matt Jones on. Matt Jones is from Kentucky Sports Radio. He's the most connected guy in Kentucky. And he said Kentucky is willing to pay Mark Stoops' buyout if it gets to that point, which it very well might. Mark Stoops' buyout, for those who don't know, $37 million, but not due over the course of the contract like all these other ones. It's due in a lump sum within 30 days of firing. If they're willing to do that, every buyout is on the table. Every one of them.
Well, shouldn't we have said that after Jimbo? I mean, I know A&M has different type resources, but like if you're going to pony up 70 or whatever,
it's
like
A&M, those people are crazy. That was the way I looked at it. But it's not just A&M. It's everybody.
It's crazy just to think
Insane.
about. Who would be the most successful coach that you would anticipate would walk, be to the NFL or another one of these power jobs that came open?
Well, like Lanning's not leaving Oregon for a college job. I don't know if he'd leave for an NFL job, but he's not leaving for a college job. So that would be the one I think. I think a lot of people are going to call Marcus Freeman. I don't think he's moving unless it's to the NFL. But I think like Penn State, I think they're going to call. I think if Florida opens, they're going to call. Obviously, the Florida fans want Lane Kiffin. I don't know if Lane Kiffin would go, but I know that's who they want. Eli Drinkwitz is one who I think if you're Penn State or Florida, you're probably going to call, at least inquire about. So there's a lot of people
Clark Lee
who've had some success. Clark Lee is another one. Like Penn State should call Clark Lee. Obviously, Matt Rule is the name that pops up with
Clark Lee's not going to Penn State because of the Vanderbilt tie, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So that's true. And by the way, Greg, that's the dumbest thing ever. Because you just fired a guy who came from Vanderbilt.
Yeah, but you know how people are.
Was really successful.
You know how people are. Penn State,
it's so stupid.
I might bet $1 right now on Pat Fitzgerald at Penn State.
That would be an interesting one. And he is out there, and given the way things shook out with his lawsuit, which we don't know how much Northwestern ended up paying him, but it's a lot of money. A lot of money.
He ain't hurting.
Yeah, Pat Fitzgerald came out just fine and is very hireable right now. So, yes, that's another name that you need to consider.
How many guys that you think are because of the Fitzgerald thing, I'm going to ask you this question. How many guys that are sitting on the bench right now do you think are realistic candidates for bigger jobs like Dave Clawson, Jimbo Fisher, Ed Orgeron?
Mm-hmm. I don't think Jimbo is going to get one. I would look at Coach O. But the thing about Coach O that's different from these other guys, Coach O will take your associate head coach D-line job at a big school. Like, if Larry Johnson decided he wanted to retire at Ohio State, like Coach O would hop in that immediately.
I think O will be on the table for a lot of G5 programs.
Yes,
I do too, and
100%.
I think that would be very smart because I think he can be really successful in this era of college football.
I would agree with that. All right, Andy, I asked this question a little bit earlier, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Right now, to win the national championship, are you taking the SEC or the field, and why?
Ooh. I'll take the field because the field includes Ohio State, and that looks like the best team. And you also get Indiana and Oregon in there too, in Miami. So, like, yeah, I'll take the field on that one. But the thing, like, this whole narrative of the SEC's down no, I think there's not a superpower atop the SEC the way Georgia was a few years ago or the way Alabama was under Nick Saban. That doesn't mean they don't have a bunch of teams that can compete at that level. They probably have more teams than any other league that can compete at that level. They just don't have an Ohio State, and I don't think anybody has an Ohio State. I think Ohio State is because I think I was wrong on this where I said last year that Ohio State team is going to be the last super team. We're never going to see a team that deep again that has that much talent. Guys, I think they may have done it again. This is a deep roster. That doesn't mean they're going to go undefeated or they're just going to roll over everybody, but they're more talented than everybody else.
Yep.
Feels that way.
It's going to be interesting to see. And I agree with you. I think there are multiple SEC teams that could win a national title. It just feels like when you talk about separation, maybe a couple of those other leagues had that. And Greg made some good points about styles making fights and that there are some SEC schools that stylistically could be a real problem for some of those other highly ranked teams that we've been discussing.
And that's the thing about this format where you've got to win 3 or 4 games in a row against that level of team. There's luck involved. There's matchups involved. And you know, I think Ohio State actually is probably more capable of winning in multiple styles than almost anybody. I think Alabama is too, though. So I think those are the ones that I'm the most comfortable with. Indiana can do that too, by the way. Indiana can play you in a shootout or play you in a slog. And I think you have to be able to do that to win a national title.
100%. All right, Andy, we appreciate the time. Great stuff as always. And look forward to doing it again soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. Thank
you. Andy Staples of the On3 Sports Network. You can hear his podcast, Andy and Ari, wherever you get your podcasts. Also watch it on YouTube. They do a great job. They are my go-to Sunday morning listen when I'm traveling to Charlotte each and every week. Before we get to break, Greg, tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, Polar Bear Services has been my one-stop shop for a long time. Very, very grateful to Weston and the guys for all the services that they receive or that they provide. Very, very impressed by how many different things they can do around your home. They have plumbing issues. I know this morning woke up 5 morning at 50 degrees outside, means my heater was running during the night. And my AC will be running during the day. It's supposed to be 88 today. So highly recommend you going and checking out Polar Bear Services. They are the very best. So remember, if you have a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
All right, when we come back, a little bit more on some of the games over the weekend and some injury updates around the SEC. Also, an interesting note about a favorite this weekend, and we get to your calls. We see you on hold. All next on Jocks. All right, moving along here at 9:38, Tuesday, October 14th, Jocks 94.5. Talking some college football. I have one note on a point spread for this weekend, and then we'll get to some calls, 800-239-9569. Before I move on to that point spread note, Greg, tell us about Crocker Moving Services.
Well, I told you about them earlier. They're terrific. Crocker Moving Services, absolutely love them. Highly recommend you going and checking them out at any point. But I will also tell you that ProLift garage doors, so good. So good. And I know, look, I have issues with my garage door all the time. It's a wood garage door. It's heavy. It wears out the motor. I've had to change the spring. I've had to change all these other things. Well, ProLift doors, that's who I'm going with from this point forward. They are really well operated. Mike does a great job here locally. Jeffrey down in Baldwin County, 200 plus 5-star Google reviews. They can work on existing garage doors for repairs. They can install new ones. No service call fees either. You only pay for the work, not the visit. All brands of garage doors can be serviced by ProLift garage doors. So if you're having unusual noises, slow response times, vibrations, shaking, call for a maintenance service today. Like I said, they're in Baldwin County and they're here locally. And the website works for both locations. Go to proliftdoors.com. That's proliftdoors.com. ProLift Garage Doors, lifting your expectations.
Have you seen the LSU Vanderbilt spread?
I have.
Did you know?
I love when you say, did you know? Because the answer is almost always no.
How many games do you think Vanderbilt has played against top 10 teams since 1978?
How many games have they played?
Correct.
I'm going to say...
Versus top 10 opponents. Keep in mind, LSU is number 10.
46.
Currently. 46. John?
I was thinking 61.
77.
Okay.
So almost a game a year versus a top 10 opponent since 1978. Having said that, 77 games against top 10 opponents. How many of those games do you think Vanderbilt has been the favorite in? They are a 2.5-point favorite against LSU currently for Saturday morning's game, 11 a.m. on ABC.
0.
John?
I'll give him 1.
This will be the first one.
Okay.
Not a single time since 1978 has Vanderbilt been the favorite against a top 10 opponent, in which I told Roman this Monday night, and he was super surprised. And I said, I don't know why you're so surprised. Like, what's the Vanderbilt squad that you would think was disrespected and not favored against the
right?
Was it like Jordan Rogers' 09 team or like Woody Woodenhofer's 95 defense? Like, I was like, which one? Jamie Duncan running around at linebacker? Zach Stacy's Vanderbilt-led team? Like, which one were you thinking, oh, they definitely had to be favored against the top 10
Ray Davis.
Team? That's the one? That was with Schottenheimer's kid at quarterback? No, who was it? Not Schottenheimer. Who was the quarterback? His dad was an NFL coach?
Yes, I know who you're talking about. No, he's the OC at Colorado.
Callahan?
No.
Runnemucker. Oh, Rowan Gardner.
No.
Mm-mm. I don't have it. I can't think of it right now, but I can get it in just a second.
Shermer. Pat Shermer.
Yeah. That's
Kyle
it.
Shermer.
Kyle Shermer.
Let's ride. Let's go.
Let's go. Threw for 3,000 yards, 24 touchdowns.
3 Bills.
In 2018.
Trace Bills.
So, yeah, I just don't know who would have thought that was a thing and should have been. And there are no teams anyone can point out. Dan in Vestavia has a question about SEC games. Welcome into the show, Dan.
Hey, well, another thing about LSU and Vandy, this is the first time since 1948 that Vanderbilt will be favored against LSU. Did you know that?
Since 1948.
Been a minute.
1948.
Haney was just a young whippersnapper.
Probably so. Well, like Cole, I was at the other game Saturday night, the South Carolina LSU game. Cole, what is wrong with LSU's run blocking? Why can't they get it done?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
boy.
I think there's a couple of things happening here. Number one, they are not given a lot of opportunities. It's very similar to last year, except last year's group actually, I think, could have been a good run blocking group if they would have been given the opportunity. They don't try to run the ball very much. And as we've heard a lot of coaches say over time, Dan, that if you don't work it, you don't practice it, you kind of don't try to live that life. And then all of a sudden, you want to turn that switch on and say, let's run some 4-minute offense and go ground and pound. Like, you can't just become that right away. And then I don't
not disagree. at all. But like literally the first play of the game after a week off, LSU lines up in a formation where the whole world knows they're going to run the football. And South Carolina blows it up almost like clowning in that Michigan game 10 years ago. It's like, what did you guys do this week?
Yeah, you got to give Dylan Stewart a little credit on that play too. He's a very good player, but it's no different. But it's look at the exact opposite of that last year. You're playing Alabama, and you run outside zone. It goes for 18. You run it 2 plays later. It goes for 8, and you don't see it again until the beginning of the fourth quarter. And so it's like so much of the play calling and the formations and the balance and all of that is just nonsensical with what they do. They're not going to be a good run team. They're just not, because they're not committed to it. And I'll share this with you because it was shared with us. And we said this on the broadcast, so you didn't hear it. We were told that during the off week, they went back to the chutes and the sleds. They were going old school. They were going back to fundamentals, and they pushed the sleds and they went through the chutes. If you don't know what chutes are, it's basically like a metal tunnel that you practice coming out of your stance in. It forces you to stay low and keep your helmet and your pad level low.
That is old school.
You can do it.
But
you can do it if you're a waist bender.
But everybody does it.
Yeah.
I mean, every other team, every other offensive line coach I've talked to, they're like, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, we go shoots and sleds. Or Mondays, Tuesdays, shoots and sleds. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, or Wednesday, Thursday, shoots and sleds. Like, they had not done that since the spring. I mean, to me, that's I don't have words for that. And you're not going to be a good run team if that's how you're operating. You're just not. Dr. Mill wants to chime in on UAB. Welcome in, Dr. Mill.
Hey, guys. How are you all this morning?
Doing great. Thank you.
All right. I have a question that I'd like to pose to you, John and Greg, this morning. You are the AD at AD1 program. Would you hire a coach with no collegiate experience?
I think, one, it depends on who it is. So if it's a gigantic name that I think can come in and definitively raise money and has connections to be able to bring in some sort of has connections in the coaching world that they can put a good staff together, then possibly, yeah. But I think you need somebody who has a full understanding of today's inner workings of collegiate athletics, which, by the way, is probably going to change again here in the next day. So even the value that you get with that, Greg, is a little bit offset because where things are now, they're not going to be in the next 2-3 weeks probably.
Right.
But I think you need some. I think you need some experience there.
I think it'd be really valuable to, believe me, the Bill Belichick situation has been watched very closely. I think we now have gotten to the point where people acknowledge, you know what, great NFL coach does not necessarily mean great college coach, and shouldn't. It's a completely different game. It's not because like NFL is more complicated or vice versa. It's not. It's just a lot of the NFL is player dependent. A lot of college is scheme dependent. Doesn't mean that you can't have players, but you're defending schemes more so than individual matchups, where the NFL is all matchup driven. And I do think college football is becoming that more and more, but I don't know. Roster management, depth, all those things are a lot more challenging in college than they are in the NFL.
Absolutely. All right, a couple more of you on hold. We'll get to you on the other side and give you a bad box score of the day next right here on Jocks. All right, last segment of the day, Tuesday, October 14th, right here on Jocks. Let's go to Josh in Birmingham quickly on the Higginbotham Hotline. Welcome into the show, Josh.
I just have a quick question for you guys. I don't know if you're familiar with like the league soccer teams, but they all have like pylon and line technology. And as much as football has progressed with technology as far as sensors on players and helmet technology, I was just wondering what you guys think about taking some of that stuff on the field so these calls kind of are left, the human element is left out, and we just get the call right regardless of whatever it is. I was just wondering about what you guys think about that.
Yeah, we did the chip in the ball in the UFL this past year, and it was pretty cool, but there were a couple that were still kind of, I don't know if that's, I didn't see it that way.
Right.
It looked different than what the graphic or whatever it was that showed you. Like, and, I think we all believe that that's going to be seamless like it is in tennis. And you're going to get the mark of the ball, and it's going to be in or out, and you get like that buildup. It's like, out. But the one that we had in the UFL, there was still a little gray area that was a little confusing, and I don't know if a lot of folks are going to be completely satisfied if that's
no
the way
one's
it
going to
went.
be satisfied because you're going to say, "Oh, see, they're tilting that line. They're against Auburn. They're tilting that line." No, they're not. But I mean, that's going to be the reality. It's like there's an imperfect element of football that is just the best. And your goal is to leave no doubt. But don't rely on the line. How about just get it all the way into the end zone?
Let it go to the judges.
Eva.
One thing that doesn't go to the judges because it's definitive is what Game Day Men's Health can do for you. If you are feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, if you need energy, Game Day Men's Health can help. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now. Sign up for the free consultation. Get the free PSA test, free testosterone test. Find out where your baseline health is. Then they let you know all the different services they have that can help you lose weight, get energy, feel better. Whatever that is, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you be a better you. Save 10% on any service they offer by mentioning Mac and Cube in the morning. Locker room environment, great people. Not going to try to stress you into things that you don't need. Minimal upfront costs from the programs they offer at Game Day Men's Health. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Sign up for that free consultation. They are now open in Trustville, by the way. That office is open. All right, quickly, let's get to Ian in Hazel Green before we get you a bad box score of the day. Welcome in, Ian.
Hey, how y'all doing? Roll Tide, Greg.
Roll
I
Tide,
know
brother.
you say that,
You
Cole.
too.
You can't say that, but it's all good. I just had a question about the Derek Meadows hit flag. Jam Miller didn't see a flag. What was y'all's thoughts on that? And I think that both had concussions. I think it should have both been targeting, in my opinion.
Well, Jam Miller is not a defenseless player. Derek Meadows was. That's the difference. The only way to have a targeting penalty when it's not a defenseless player is the crown of the helmet has to initiate the contact. And the crown is a very specific space. I think people just think helmet to helmet is helmet to helmet. It's not. No, crown is quite literally like where the old school where you'd put the air in the top of your helmet. Like that's the crown of the helmet. So that was officiated correctly, and so was the one on Meadows. That was officiated correctly as well.
All right, let's get you a bad box score of the day. We go to JUCO football. One of these teams has made multiple appearances, I believe, just this year.
Soldotna.
We didn't get to our Soldotna Stars yesterday. We'll do that in a moment. Minnesota State Community and Technical College.
Lakes.
No,
They're the Waves. I saw that TV show.
no, they're the Spartans.
Oh,
They went down to the Rochester Community and Technical College.
Ramblers?
No.
Why the battle of the tech colleges?
Yes. This is called the Tech Bowl.
Miners.
They're the Yellow Jackets.
okay.
All those
Copycats.
technical colleges are Yellow Jackets.
Yellow Jackets took the game 63-0. However, 28 in the first, 21 in the second means not a good coach. Because you have to score more in the second half than the first half to be a good coach. That's what local Alabama media has told us. Here is your difference in offense, 462-69.
Uh-huh.
That's 69 yards on 48 plays for Minnesota State Community and Technical College. They netted 24 yards passing on 414. They had 45 yards rushing on 34 attempts.
That's it?
They punted 9 times.
Okay.
For how many yards?
It doesn't have that in the box score. Sorry.
No. What kind of box
I
score is
apologize.
this? How are
Not
we
a
supposed to
good
know
one.
how the game really went?
Not a good one. Nolan Sharapata, 4 of 10 for 24 yards and an interception, no touchdowns. Let me take you further inside this box score, Greg.
Oh, please
Nolan
do.
Sharapata, quarterback from Minnesota State Community and Technical College, 4 of 10, 24 yards. His long completion on the day, 21.
Ah,
There's a positive.
definitely the positive.
So his other 3 completions went for 3 yards.
Is that good?
Not ideal.
He's just taking care of the football.
It was a team effort. It's collective. The average is good.
4 different players for Rochester Community and Technical College caught touchdown passes. Devin Gonzalez was 13 to 16, 204, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Damian Jones, 3 for 4. Merrick Woods, 3 for 5. Desmond Washington, 5 for 5 with 2 touchdowns. That's your bad box score of the day. 3-man fronts coming at you next.